China, a land where old temples stand near super new cities, and mountains are so tall they almost touch the sky. For thousands and thousands of years, people here have been doing amazing things and coming up with new ideas. Today, China is important all over the world. It's a country full of energy and big dreams. Learning about China helps us understand a big part of everyone's story here on Earth. What's really special about China is how the old and new mix together. It's pretty cool. It remembers its long history but is also moving super fast into the future. It's like a cool dance that's fun to watch. From old ways of thinking to new high-tech stuff, China has so many different things to see and learn about. In this video, we're going to explore all of that, its amazing past and what's happening right now. We'll check out its fun festivals, cool art, yummy food, and see what China is like today. China's long history is often talked about through its dynasties. Think of dynasties as powerful families that ruled for a long time. The Xia and Shang dynasties were some of the very first ones, and a lot of their stories are like legends. Then came the Zhou dynasty. They had this idea called the Mandate of Heaven, which was a big deal for how leaders thought about ruling. The Han dynasty was a really great time, like a golden age. They brought the country together and made it bigger. A thinker named Confucius had ideas that really shaped how people lived, making order and learning super important. The Tang dynasty was a bright and exciting time. Its main city, Chang'an, was a busy place with people from all over the world. The Song dynasty was super smart. They came up with things like gunpowder and printing. The Ming dynasty built a big part of the Great Wall and sent a famous sailor, Admiral Zheng He, on amazing trips across the sea. Gap 2S. The Qing dynasty was the last one with emperors. They made China bigger but also had some tough times later on. Every single dynasty added something special to China's amazing story. The Silk Road wasn't just one road, but a whole bunch of paths that connected the East, like China, with the West. Groups of travelers called caravans carried cool stuff and new ideas over huge deserts and tall mountains. The most famous thing from China was silk. People wanted it so much, it was like it was worth its weight in gold. And in return, China got things like strong horses, pretty glassware, and tasty spices from other places. But even more important than all the stuff was the sharing of ideas. A way of thinking called Buddhism traveled from places like India to China and really changed Chinese art and how people thought. And Chinese inventions like how to make paper spread to the West and totally changed how people shared information. The Silk Road was like a big meeting place for different groups of people, helping them understand each other better. What it did back then still matters today. It shows us that people have been connecting all over the world for a long, long time. It helped set things up for the world to be more connected like it is now. The old paths might be gone, but the idea of connecting with others is still strong. The Silk Road changed how people saw each other and showed that different cultures could find things they had in common. The early 1900s were a really shaky and tough time for China. The Qing dynasty, the last family of emperors, fell. So, no more emperors, but things weren't peaceful yet. The country kind of broke into pieces, and different powerful leaders called warlords fought to be in charge. Even with all the mess, new ideas and groups wanting big changes started to grow. The Communist Party started in 1921. They promised to give land to farmers and make things more equal for everyone. Something called the Long March, a very difficult journey, became a really important story for the communist movement. Mao Zedong became the main leader, and in 1949 he announced the start of the People's Republic of China. Under Mao, China went through huge changes. They wanted to build a new kind of society, a socialist one. Some big plans like the Great Leap Forward were meant to help, but ended up causing a lot of hardship for many people. Mao's time was full of massive changes, and it set up a complicated but important foundation for modern China. For many, it was also a time of big hope and feeling really proud of their country. All the struggles led to a brand new chapter for a country that had been through so much. Mao's leadership marked a really big turning point in Chinese history. What makes China tick? Big ideas and beliefs. What China is all about is really connected to its old ways of thinking, its philosophies. One big idea comes from a thinker named Confucius. It's all about getting along with others, respecting your family and people in charge, and doing your duty. Another one, called Taoism, teaches people to live simply and go with the flow, to be in harmony with nature, or the Tao. Buddhism, which came from India but changed a bit in China, shows ways to find inner peace and be kind and compassionate to others. These ways of thinking have a big impact on how Chinese people live, how the country is run, and everyday stuff. They give people ideas about what's right and wrong and how to treat each other. If you want to get what China and its culture are all about, you really need to understand these important ideas. Celebrating life festivals and artistic expressions. Chinese culture is super lively and colorful, and you can really see it in all the fun festivals. Chinese New Year, or Spring Festival, is the biggest and most important one. It celebrates the start of the new year based on the moon calendar, and it's all about family. The Dragon Boat Festival is another cool one, with exciting boat races to remember a famous ancient poet named Qu Yuan. And then there are the amazing traditional arts like beautiful handwriting called calligraphy, and the famous Peking opera with its cool costumes and singing. These celebrations and arts show how important it is to be together with family and friends, and to keep old traditions alive. They let you see a little bit of what Chinese traditions are really like, right into the heart of the culture. Festivals kind of mark the time of year and make it special, giving a nice rhythm to life. Speaking in symbols, language, customs, and daily rhythms. The Chinese language is one of the oldest ways of talking and writing in the whole world. The main language here in Beijing and many other places is Mandarin. It uses special pictures called characters instead of letters like A, B, C. Symbols are super important in Chinese culture. They can give everyday things special meanings like good luck or happiness. How people act with each other is a lot about respect, knowing who's older or in charge and how well you know someone. It's about harmony. There's this really important idea called face, or mianzi. It's about keeping your good reputation and making sure you don't make others lose face or feel embarrassed. It's a big deal in how people interact. Everyday life is a mix of old ways and new things, and people feel very connected to their communities and families. Markets are busy, exciting places full of fresh food, sounds, and smells. Gap 2S, family is super important. Eating meals together is a big way everyone stays close and remembers their traditions. The way life goes on here is a cool mix of old traditions and modern ways. Showing respect to older people and those in charge is a big part of life, and that comes from those old ideas of Confucius we talked about. A taste of the vast expanse, culinary journeys, and tea traditions. Chinese food is amazing because there are so many different kinds. It really depends on what grows nearby and the history of each place. Things like dim sum, those little yummy snacks you get in the south, and of course Peking duck right here in Beijing are super famous. People love to eat them together with family and friends. And if you like bold flavors, Sichuan noodles with their spicy chili oil and tingly Sichuan peppercorns are a must-try. Tea is a huge part of life in China. It's not just a drink, it's a way to welcome people, show respect, and it has a long history. There are tons of different kinds of tea like green tea, black tea, oolong tea, and each one is special and even has different good things for you. There's even a special way to make and drink tea called a tea ceremony. It's all about taking your time, doing it carefully, and really enjoying the tea. Tea houses are cool places where people meet up to chat, relax, and enjoy tea together. They've been important social spots for ages. You could spend your whole life trying all the different yummy foods and teas in China. The dragon soars, economic miracles, and future visions. How much China's money situation has changed in the last few decades is incredible. It's now one of the most important countries for business in the whole world. New ways of doing business and opening up the economy helped millions and millions of people have better lives and get out of poverty. Chinese companies are now leaders in really cool stuff like computers that think, that's AI, online shopping, and clean energy like solar and wind power. Big cities like Shenzhen and Shanghai are super modern and full of energy, showing off all this progress. They look like cities from the future. A big project called the Belt and Road Initiative is China's plan to connect with more and more countries through trade and building things together. It shows how China's influence is growing. Of course, when you think of China, you think of the Great Wall. It's a famous symbol of how people can work hard, stick with something for a long time, and build amazing things. China has lots of special places like ancient cities and beautiful natural spots that the whole world agrees are important to protect. These are called UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Even with all the new buildings and technology, cool old customs and traditions are still going strong. China is a place that's super old, with thousands of years of history. but it's also always looking to the future and changing, it's always evolving.